sometimes we got to spend the money. We ain't got no choice. But don't let our choices be our detriment because
Right.
a lot of times we make tougher choices than we need to because we feel that we don't have any choices. And that should never be the case. We have to always be looking ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little broke this month, but all my stuff's gonna be paid because if all my bills are paid and I got $2 in the bank, I'm good. I ain't broke.
Right.
If I got, whether you have $2 million or you have $10, it's all in how you handle money, is how you're gonna keep it. Because a lot of times and this is the poorer, the less resources that you have, the more you look at wants than you do needs. Because a lot of times we buy what we want. We'll get that big screen TV. We'll get those red bottoms. We'll get that nice whip. Meanwhile, our electricity, we paying $10 on our electricity, $30 on our water bill. We got stamps, so we taking care of that, but we ain't we ain't doing no real saving because we're buying what we want. And then when we can't get what we need done, we go to other people and said, hey, we'll pawn our kids. And I'm not saying that y'all do that, or I'm just saying in general, because men and women pawn their kids. They will tell it. They will use their kids as pawns to get what they want in a minute. My babies ain't had nothing to eat. My babies ain't did this, and said, didn't you just go to Aruba last week? How your how your kids starving and you just went to Aruba?
Yeah, and I know you're being like funny about it, but I know people that do things like that, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
My granddaughter's grandmother, every year for the summertime and winter breaks, she does a food drive for the children that are when they're on vacation, they don't get to eat.
Right.
So she makes, these care packages, because the parents apparently they spend their food stamps on other things, or they do things, with their money that they shouldn't be doing. And these poor babies, if they don't go to school, they won't eat. So, during like recess, winter recess, spring break, stuff like that, she always does the donations, and she makes these kid friendly. She makes sure that it's kid friendly, you know, food packages for these children. And you don't have to give any name, you don't have to no identifying markers at all. So, the other kids make fun of them, but make sure she has these things. And it's sad. Like I know that, you were serious and trying to be funny at the same time, but this is actually a problem, especially in our community, that
Right.
people use their money for wants instead of needs.
Yep.
And I
You got a 65-inch TV and your refrigerator only
exactly.
there is your cousin's.
Right, right. It's so sad. So sad.
But and that's one thing we got to always talk about. Said stop getting what you want, get what you need done, and eventually save for what you want. A lot of us abuse our credit. That's why, for the most part, black people's credit scores are in the toilet
Definitely.
because we don't always look at how our credit is affected, and then we get mad when they offering us 23%. You got to put $5,000 on a $7,000 car, and they're paying you 38% interest for 60 months.
Hmm.
It's like,
Paying $700 for your car note every month. That's
hmm
crazy.
yep, yep, and but that's what happens sometimes. sometimes we get to a place where we are not being where we need to be, and then we're trying to get to where we're going to get, but we're not making a wholehearted effort into making sure that we have a life vest, a lifeline, or a lifeboat, for lack of a better term, because we're so busy wanting stuff and it's okay to want stuff, but if you put your wants over your needs, I mean, I'm sorry,
You're never going to get ahead. You go,
exactly, and that's why when remember how I used to be, I'd ask y'all to send me the bill because
hmm
that way I know it's paid because sometimes people get the bill and then you send them the money and they pay something else, something that they wanted, but that bill
Right.
then they come back and be like, well, I thought you paid that bill. I thought you said, well, no, something else came up. No, that's not what you said. That's not what you said. But my kids are going to be out on the street.
Oh well.
You want to say that, but you know me. You know I'm not going to do that. That's not how I'm built. I would like to be that mean. I can't even I can't even front like that. I can't front like that. We yeah, we don't always do what we need to do as far as getting being necessarily mean. I'm not going to say not mean, but unnecessarily mean. I don't have it within me. Much I wouldn't sometimes I want it to be, but I thought about our situation and had people did the same thing to us, we probably wouldn't be here talking. And I'm just keeping it 100.
That's true.
So, you know, our mother had both our parents had real soft hearts for folks, and
Yeah.
they passed that on to us.
yes, unfortunately.
And sometimes people take advantage of that. So, we got to look at it. We have to look at don't and I told Apple this and I've told you this. I said don't burn yourself to keep somebody else warm because they ain't gonna appreciate it. Because once you burnt up, guess what? They can't use you no more.
That's true.
And you know what I learned, and it took me a long time to learn? No,
Yes.
the complete sentence.
Yes.
It took
You
me
said no
long,
is what?
A
a,
complete sentence.
it took me a long time to get to realize that. It took to learn that. It took me longer than
It took
I
me.
care to, even admit that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to have any explanation. You don't have to give a reason why you're saying no. No.
You just got no is no.
And
And
that's
Guess
it.
what? I had to learn that after I had cancer. When I found out I had cancer, and I had to go through, why you have to go through psychology. You have to see a psychologist, and so they can make sure that the mental state that you're in. And she told me, she said, you have to learn to say no. I said, it's very hard for me to do that. She said, no, it's not. And I told her, I said, well, I'll try. When I started saying no,
It gets easier.
woo, it get easier and easier. And
yeah,
my stress level just dissipates.
but that's the thing though, is that you have to understand there's a time to say no, or it's a time to say
Right.
this is what I can do.
Hmm
Not, I can't give you my left arm that I'm going to need tomorrow. I may be able to give
Right.
I may be able to give you a finger. It'll inconvenience me, but I can still work without a finger. Well, not a thumb, but some people want your whole arm, and then when you give them the arm, they want your other arm.
Uh-huh. And then they want to smack you across the head with them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
I had to learn that. I've learned I used to bend over backwards to do things for people. People always can count on me to either do what I say I'm gonna do or be there when I say I'm gonna be there.
Right.
I
Right.
had to learn to say no, I can't be there. Why not? I just can't, and leave it as that. So when you said that, Apple, no is a complete sentence. No, it's just no, and it hurts sometimes that I have to say no,
It does hurt. It does hurt. But you have to, we're at
but
the
I
age
learned to suck
now,
it up.
yeah, and we're at the age now that we have to look out for ourselves.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna, I spent out of the 51 years I've been on this earth, I spent the first 48 trying to appease other people
Yeah,
and making sure everyone else was good. And, I'm not good.
right. We're
And
trying to
now,
make other people happy
right, these,
and not realizing we can't make someone else happy. We
and
can
then I have,
enhance their
right,
happiness,
right.
but we shouldn't go out our way as
And
much
I,
as we did to make their happiness be
and
better
I
than
had
what
to
they
learn
do.
that I'm not responsible for someone else's happiness. I'm not.
No, you're not. And
Exactly.
kind of like when I showed at the beginning of the podcast when I was talking about last week why I canceled. Um, you can't control how other people act, but you can control how you react.
React, right.
And sometimes you need to know when to be strong. Sometimes you have to know when to have heart, and sometimes you have to know when just to shut up. Shut
Mm.
up. Shut up is perfectly fine. Saying I don't know is perfectly fine. A lot of times we don't do that
We
because
don't do that, right.
we think we're gonna hurt people's feelings. And I know I'm the king of hurting people's feelings, um, inadvertently and on purpose. But I know,
And it hurts you to have to hurt someone's feelings. You want to be able to do, but then you have to, like today, for example, I was on the phone with a friend and she said, "Oh, I need a cup of coffee. I don't even have $5 to give me a cup of coffee." I could have sent her the $5, but I know you said that, so I'd send you the $5. And I'm not. And I
yeah.
got back and I drank the cup of coffee I bought myself and didn't feel guilty at all.
Not,
Whereas,
not at all.
whereas before I would have been like, "Oh, I'll send you some money. Go ahead and get you some coffee.
Hey,
Everybody needs a cup of coffee." No.
quick